true.
Shrek Bingo. Imagine Bingo, but hosted by Shrek. Whatever you just imagined is far more interesting than this DVD game. Why? Well, it's literally just bingo. There is a vaguely entertaining intro, but then you just pick one of the 4 Shrek characters to host, and then it's just bingo. The only real difference is that if you win, you're supposed to shout out Shrek Bingo instead of just bingo, because that's more fun, I guess? Now, it's not all bad. You do have the celebrity impersonators read out the numbers, and it's very fast, which is a nice change from many other DVD games which are painfully slow, and it comes with a stack of bingo pads to play with. But there is no personality here. The characters just read out the bingo numbers, perhaps too fast, and with no jokes or anything. Anyone who has been to a real bingo game will know that part of the fun is to have a charismatic host who throws in some fun commentary. They could have also added some silly events or something to make it more interesting than a regular bingo game, but nope, it's just regular bingo. And if you win, you just get a 5-second clip of the host congratulating you. Part of the fun of bingo is winning prizes. Why not give out random silly fake prizes at the end? Like, oh I don't know, an enchanted goblin fart in a jar? Shrek was all about the attitude and humour, and there is none of that here. It's just boring and bland, like bingo at a retirement home. Shrek Bingo was a stupid idea to begin with, but they could have had some fun with it. But nope, they decided not to. A total waste of time. Barbie Fairytopia Rainbow Adventure DVD game. This one is actually interesting, not because of the DVD itself, but because it came with a doll that could be programmed to act as a DVD remote and used in conjunction with the DVD to make it feel like you're exploring the world. At some points in the DVD, you'll be asked if you want to go left or right, and to make your choice, you lean the doll left or right. As you may have guessed, it just acts as pressing left or right on the remote, and in fact, you can play through the whole thing with just a normal remote, but it's still a cute gimmick, and I'm sure there are some kids who got a kick out of pretending to fly through the world of Fairytopia, or whatever the setting is called. The actual DVD itself isn't too exciting. You have to find all the rainbow gems stolen from a crown, and you find them by, well, just randomly wandering around the world until you come across them all. That includes going back and forth over the same areas until the game randomly decides to give them to you. There are 2 very simple mini-games, including one terrible trial and error one, plus a segment where you can make your annoying furry companion dance, which includes a very cringy hip-hop performance. So yes, the remote controlled doll was the main draw of this one, otherwise it's just a usual simple DVD game for kids with not much to offer today. Roger Rabbit Trouble in Toontown. Here is another movie with a game as a bonus feature. This time you help Roger Rabbit save Jessica and Toontown by winning simple arcade games. This is one of the better examples of these I've encountered. I mean, it's nothing spectacular, but the art is good, they got Charles Fleischer to record new lines as Roger, the games are tied together by an actual story, and the arcade games, while simple, actually work well. There's even multiple paths. If you fail a game, you have to answer a question about the movie. Get that wrong and you'll get a flat tire. Get 4 flat tires and you lose. I played through it a few times and never got a flat tire, but you have to keep in mind that this was designed for kids. It's also very short, but that's to be expected. Oh, I should mention the games involved. There is one where you throw pies at weasels by timing button presses correctly, a whack-a-mole clone, a memory game like Simon which I admit I struggled with a few times, and finally an arcade game where you dodge deadly dip by moving left or right. So yes, a solid bonus feature for the kids, but it's not worth seeking out the DVD version of the movie just for this. As for the movie itself, I think it's fantastic. I loved it as a kid, and love it even more as an adult due to being able to understand the satire running through it. It's a detective noir parody set in a world where humans and cartoons live together, and a cartoon-hating human and a cartoon framed for murder have to team up to solve a mystery. A very entertaining movie. Raven Interactive DVD game. This is based on a Scottish children's adventure game show, a bit like Crystal Maze or Legends of the Hidden Temple. I was actually pretty impressed with this one. The production values are good, the host does a decent job of getting you in the mood for adventure, and the minigames are quite varied. The amount of minigames played depends on which difficulty is selected. There's one where you try to outmaneuver a demon in a board game, another where you have to solve a riddle, an archery game, a memory game, a general knowledge quiz, and more. Most impressive is that there are a number of arcade games, and some of them even work well. Some of them work well. I admire the creators' ambition, but some of these games simply don't work, or at least, they didn't on the DVD players I tried them on. This was a big problem for DVD games, as every machine was different. The most frustrating game is a penultimate one where you have to make your way through a maze of obstacles. You have to be very precise with your timing, as even if it looks like you're in the clear, the game can decide to kill you off. On the other hand, you can happily move through obstacles without it registering as a death sometimes too. It's possible to memorize the exact moments to move, but it isn't exactly fun to do so. Oh right, the controls can also be very unresponsive, which leads to yet more deaths. Fortunately, the game at least starts players off with a decent chunk of lives. So yes, an impressive DVD game that works really well in some cases, but also crumbles under its own ambition elsewhere. Vino Interactive DVD. Colour me impressed with this one. This is based on a children's comic of the same name, and the DVD's main feature is a long motion comic about the Bash Street Kids. The writing feels a lot like the comics I read as a kid, so full of silly wordplay and also lots of very lowbrow humour such as good old farts. The story is pretty entertaining for what it is, and I think I would have loved this as a kid. As an adult, it all feels a bit naff, but I accept that I'm no longer the target audience. Game-wise, there are mini-games that happen throughout the story. They're all pretty basic, such as a jigsaw or a simple arcade game, but they have that Beano flavour and I appreciate them tying into the story. My favourite minigame is a quiz where you're supposed to pick the most stupidly wrong answer. That's very, very Beano. There's also an old Beano movie included, which I couldn't make more than 10 minutes into because I thought it was terrible. But kids probably would have liked it. You know, kids, they're stupid. So yes, one of the better examples of a DVD game, or at least one for children. My biggest negative is that the Banjo-Kazooie noises they use for voices can get grating pretty quickly. Lizzie McGuire's Spin the Bottle. Here we have a party game hosted by someone who is clearly not Hilary Duff. It's a pretty basic game. Players click to spin a bottle on screen and it will land on a category. Some sort of odd task will appear on screen and they must do it in order to get the points. There is of course truth and dare, but nothing too racy comes up, what with this being aimed at the young crowd. I think the most racy dare was blowing into another player's ear for 5 seconds, and I don't recall anything too adult coming up in the truths. Now, despite there being a dare category, it feels like it was just there to put in tasks that wouldn't fit into any of the other ones, because all the other categories feel like dares too, such as singing a song you hate, doing a silly dance, or acting like a 2-year-old opening Christmas presents. I know someone who actually played this with friends when they were younger, and they had a good time with it, so I guess that's a seal of approval. On the other hand, she got very annoyed with the fake Hilary Duff after she pronounced one of the characters' names wrong. Tisk tisk tisk.